Hello IQ students. Today our topic is Python Pandas data frame and this is Python Pandas data frame part 12. In this lecture we are going to discuss some question answer based on chapter 12 and two important topics LOC and ILOC, which are functions used in Python Pandas. We'll be discussing this lecture. So let us take them one by one. Question number 1. Consider the following code to create data frames with similar value and what will be the printed by the code given below. Justify your answer. So question has basically two parts here. First part contain a code and second part we have to write a justification for our answer. So code is by import pandas as PD. Pandas is the name of library. PD is alternative name given to pandas library. Import and as again are two keywords, and there are declaration of two data frame df1 and df2. They looks like same, but there is a little bit difference between these two. In df1 we see that there is only a single list, and in df2 there is a nested list. So in df1 it is represented by a single bracket and df2 represented by a double bracket. So that is the difference between df1 and df2, and because of this answer of df1 and df2 are a little bit different. So in next line there is a print statement, print df1. There is actually a string which will be printed after the execution of this statement, and because this is given in double quotes. Next statement is print df1, so data frame 1 will be printed, and after that df2 again it is a string, so it will be printed as it is, and then last line print df2, data frame 2 df2 will be printed after the execution of this statement. So now as far as output is concerned, this is the output. df1 0 0 1 2 and 1 2 3. Here 1 2 3, remember that these three values 1 2 3 are the values contained by a list which is passed as a parameter in df1. In second data frame, which is df2, 1 2 3 again are the values, but these values represented like this. The actual difference between these two data frame df1 and df2 is regarding to index value. For df1 index value is 0 1 2, and for df2 index value is only 0. df1 contain only one column and df2 contain 3 columns, basically 0 1 and 2. So that is the basic difference between these two. And why it is so? Because in df1 there is only a single list passed as a parameter and passed as an argument here, and in df2 there is also a single list, but actually it is a nested list here. So first data frame df1 is created with a 1D list, one dimensional list, hence all its value are taken as a new row for data frame df1 and only one column is created. So when there is only a single list within a within a data frame, then only a single column is created. Remember that only a single column is created whenever we pass a single list within a data frame. And if we want to pass, or if we pass more than one list in a data frame, then more than one columns will be created, depends on number of elements of that list. So in this case there are 3 elements, that's why 3 columns will be created in df2. So that is the answer. This is df1 and this is df2. There are 3 columns, 0, 1 and 2. So there are 3 columns, and in first data frame there is only a single column and 3 rows. So this is the output. Data frame df2 is created with a 2D list where inner list contain values 1, 2, 3, and since inner list forms the column values, the 3 columns are formed from the 3 values of inner list. There is just one inner list, hence row 1 row only. So there is basically a single inner list, and that's why in df2 there is there are basically 3 columns, because there is a nested list, we can say that, and first list contain element 1, 2, 3, and others contain no element. That's why different columns are created for different elements for df2. And in list 1, since there is only a single a list, that's why there is only a 1 column. Now question number 2. For the question number 2 says that given a data frame, namely data, so name of the data frame is data as shown below. So there is a data frame in which we can see that there are 3 columns, color, count and price, and there are 5 rows, apple, apple, pear, pear and lime. So in this question, write code statement to find all rows with label apple, extract all columns, and list only the columns count and price using LOC, and list only rows with the labels apples and pear using LOC. So LOC is a function used in Python pandas. So let us give an example of LOC. What is LOC? Actually, Python pandas data frame LOC is an attribute access to a access to a group of rows and columns by labels or a boolean array in the given data frame. As far as syntax is concerned, just write name of data frame first, and then after LOC. It has no parameter at all. It is actually an attribute of data frame, and it returns either a scalar value or a series or maybe a data frame. So 3 values are returned using LOC, and LOC is the attribute of a data frame. So now here is an example. Use data frame dot LOC attribute to access a particular cell in a given data frame using the index and the column label. And here is a small example. Import pandas as PD. Pandas is the name of library. PD is again alternative name given to pandas. So if you want to use pandas as a library, just write PD in place of pandas, then after dot, and then after function name. And second line creates a data frame, PD dot data frame, and data frame is created using a dictionary. So weight, name and age are the column name of data frame, and the value corresponding to these columns are given in a list. For weight, values are 45, 88, 56, 15 and 71. For name, Sam, Andrea, Alex, Robin and Kia, and age are 14, 25, 55, 8 and 21. And then there is the comment, because it is start with a hash symbol. Then create the index. Index are row underscore 1, row underscore 2, row underscore 3, row underscore 4, row underscore 5, and variable name for index is index underscore. To set the index, just write df dot index is equal to index underscore, and then print the data frame. So here first task is to create a data frame, second is to create an index for data frame, and third is finally print the data frame. So these are the 3 different parts of this program, and data frame is created using a dictionary here, and then index is there, and then print statement. So final answer is looks like this, because column name are name, age, and weight, and rows name are index name as row underscore 1, row underscore 2, row underscore 3, row underscore 4, row underscore 5. That's why these are the rows given here. Note here one thing is very important. Whenever you you create a data frame using a list, then order doesn't matter. Here we can see that name appears first, and then after age, and then weight first, then name, and then age. But in original data frame, when we execute the statement or program, then age is the first column, name is the second column, and weight is the third column, which is differ from the original data frame, because in original data frame which is used in this program, weight is first, then name, and then age, and it is always happens. Actually, it is not fixed. And why it is so? Because in dictionary there are index value, and for that index value there are certain values given. They are given for particular index value, and order doesn't matter when we create data frame using a dictionary. So this is now our original data frame, and in this program, since we declared index values as row underscore 1, row underscore 2, row underscore 3, row underscore 4, and row underscore 5, that's why these are here: row underscore 1, row underscore 2, row underscore 3, row underscore 4, and row underscore 5. So these are the different values for rows. Now column values for age are 14, 15, 55, 8, and 21. These are the column values as you see, and these are the name, and these are the weight. These are the column name, and these are the index value. Now if we will use dataframe.loc attribute, now we want to use attribute dataframe.loc, then what happens? So there is a variable name result, and we write result and assign a value df.loc row2 comma name, row2 comma name. So row2 is the name of row and name is the name of column. So first of all, if you want to pass values in loc attribute, then just write name of row first and then after name of column. So row2 is the name of row and name is the name of column, and we can easily see that in this row2 or name, row2 name, there is a value Andrea, and that's why the output is Andrea. So that is the output. As you can see that the output, the dataframe.loc attribute has successfully returned the value presented at the desired location. So actually loc returns the value at the desired location, and the desired location is given here, and at this location value is Andrea. That's why Andrea is the final answer. Here is example 2. Use dataframe.loc attribute to return two of the columns in the given data frame. So there is a data frame and it is different from that of previous one. So first line, as usual, import pandas as PD, name of library is pandas and alternative name is PD, and then data frame creation is in second line, pd.dataframe a b c d. In this a b c d are name of the columns and values are given in a list corresponding to each columns. For a, values are 12, 4, 5, none, and 1. For b, values are 7, 2, 54, 3, and none, and for c, 20, 16, 11, 3, and 8, and for d, These are 14, 3, none, and 2 and 6. So after that execution of that statement, data frame will be created here, and then create the index. In this line, index will be created out of the execution of that statement, and the value of the index are row underscore 1, row underscore 2, row underscore 3, row underscore 4, and row underscore 5. And then df under dot index is equal to index underscore, and after that the print statement which will print the data frame. Now again this program has three parts: creation of data frame, creation of index, and print statement regarding to data frame. So after execution of this program, this answer is given on the screen. ABCD are the name of columns. Row underscore 1, row underscore 2, row underscore 3, row underscore 4, and row underscore 5 are the index name, and values given here are for A is this, B is this, C for C, and these values for different columns are given here. And NaN means there is not a values here, not a number. NaN is not a number. That's why NaN appears here, because when we pass a list in a data frame, then there is no any none value is passed. That's why NaN appears here. So this is a data frame created with columns A, B, C, D, and index value row 1, row underscore 1, row underscore 2, row underscore 3, row underscore 4, row underscore 5. Now we will use data frame dot loc attribute to return the values present in A and D columns of the data frame. So if you want to select the values for particular columns, and here columns names are A and D, and we have to select all values regarding column A and D. Then what is the syntax? Remember that for syntax, first portion is related to row and second portion is related to column, and there is a comma sign between these two. And whenever we want to select all values, just part colon sign is there. It means that all values are selected. If you put a colon for rows, it means all rows are selected, and if you put colon for colon sign for column, then all columns will be selected. Now here, since we have to select all rows regarding columns A and D only, it means that there is a filtration of column in data frame, but all rows will be selected here. That's why when we write here df.loc, so df is the name of data frame, then loc is an attribute of data frame, as we know that, and then after there is a bracket sign, and now look at the answer. There is a colon sign here. Colon sign means here colon sign means all columns will be selected, and there is a comma sign after that. So comma signs mean now all those will be selected, and now it is turn for selection of columns, and columns are selected here in bracket, and these columns are A and D, A and D represented here. A and D, so A and D are the name of the columns. So what will be the final answer after the execution of that statement? Obviously all those will be selected, and only two columns will be selected after after the execution of that statement. So that's why it is the answer. So all values selected regarding two columns A and D only. So we can say that in comparison to original data frame, two columns value B and C will not be selected, and only for value selected for A and D columns only. So there are only two columns A and D. Now there is another function ILOC. So sometimes it is asked in examination that what is the difference between LOC and ILOC attribute of data frame. Then LOC is basically a label based, and ILOC is an integer based index. So that is the major difference. In one line we can say that both are used to access rows and columns, but LOC is label based and ILOC is integer index based. And what is the meaning of this? um, LOC is label based means that you have to specify rows and columns based on their rows and columns labels. So you have to give the names of rows and columns when you use LOC. And using ILOC, you have to specify rows and columns by their integer value. So in LOC, you have to specify their labels or name of rows and columns, and in ILC you have to give their integers value regarding to that rows and columns. So that is the major difference between LOC and ILOC. And as far as syntax is concerned, syntax of both are same. Instead, in place of LOC we write ILOC, but we use a number instead of a label in when we compare it with the LOC. So there is an example here which represent the functioning of LOC and ILOC. So LOC, as I told you that um, it's represented by a label. So RU may be a name of column or a row, and when we use ILOC, so just write ILOC4. So that is the index value or the column number. And here cars is the name of data frame here. Suppose there is a data frame cars here, and if you want to put if you want to find out the value regarding to column name or index RU, which is by default 4, then using LOC just write cars.loc RU, and for ILOC just write cars.ILOC and pass the value within bracket 4. So that is the basic difference. And there's another syntax for using this. You can use double bracket for this purpose, and for a data frame, and when there are more than 2 rows or columns, then separate them with a comma sign for LOC and for ILOC. The difference is that in LOC there are labels, and for ILC there are integer values. So that is the basic difference between ILC and LOC. You can pass integer values in LOC as well, but you cannot pass the labels in ILOC. So that is the basic. ILOC represent basically for integer location. That's why it is called ILOC. So in integer location or ILOC, you should pass the integer location of a particular value for a column or for a row. So that is the basic difference between LOC and ILOC. Now, question based on um, LOC attribute is there. There is a question number 2. Given a data frame, namely data as shown in figure below, fruits names are row labels, and write code statement to find all rows with label apple, extract all columns, and list. Second part is list only the column count and price using LOC, and third part list only rows with labels apples and pears using LOC. So there is a use of LOC in this attribute, and it's mentioned also mentioned here that you should use LOC attribute to find the desired result. And name of data frame is data here, so it is already given here. And in this data frame there are 3 columns: name, color, count and price, and there are 5 rows Index values are apple, apple, pear, pear and lime. So there are 5 rows and 3 columns named here. And question is write code statement to first part is find all rows with label apple. Find all rows with label apple and extract all columns. So apple is a single row, and for apple we have to find all values regarding to all columns, and there are only 3 columns here: color, count or price. So actually we want to find this result here. For apple, color is red, count is 3 and price is 120. So what we have to do for this, just write data dot loc, and then as I told you that there are basically two parts of loc. First part belongs to row and second part belongs to column, and always write row first and then after that column, and there is a comma sign between row and column which separate row and column. So since there is only a single row here, so and in question there is given that find all rows with labels apple, and label name is apple. So label name is apple here. So just write data.loc apple, and why apple is here, because there is only a single label, and if there are more than one label then we separate it with a comma sign but in a list. And we have to select all columns here because it is given in question extract all columns. Here it is given extract all column, and we have to extract all columns. So to extract all columns, just put colon sign as given here. Just write colon sign. So it will select all columns. So after the execution of that statement, and then close the bracket. So data.loc then apple comma column will select label apple with all columns. It means this result. So this is the answer of part 1, and then for part 2, list only the column count and price using LOC. List only the column count and price. So there are only two columns, count and price. These two columns should be selected, count and price, and for that and price using LOC. List only the column count and price using LOC. So no row is specified here, so we have to select all rows with column count and price, because in question there is given that list only the columns count and price using LOC. So all rows with columns count and price. So what is the answer? Answer is, for since all rows should be selected, that's why we represent column sign here. To put column sign in place of rows means that all rows should be selected, and after that, since there are two columns and the columns names are count and price, so these two columns names are given in a bracket, count and price here. And after the execution of that statement, answer the portion that is crossed is not printed and rest portion will be printed. It means this is the final answer, because in this only two columns, which are count and price, will be selected here, and the name of these columns are count and price, and all rows will also be selected. And let us take its third part. Third part is list only rows with labels apple and pear using LOC. Now filtration is along rows, and in this question, since no there is no column, that's why we take all columns, because it is clearly given that list only rows with labels apple and pears using LOC. So these two rows will be selected, apple and pear. Now interestingly, there are two rows regarding pear, because pear represented pear is represented by two rows, pear, pear, and two for apple also. So actually 4 rows will be selected. List only rows with labels apple and pear using LOC, and no column is mentioned here, that's why all columns will be selected. So it means that color, count and price will be selected. And for this we have to write data.loc and then write apple and pear. No need to mention column, because all columns will have to be select. And you can write also with comma sign and after that colon sign. This will also gives you a result here, but by default, if we don't mention any column name, then all column names will be selected. So that is the final answer. I hope you like this video. In our next lecture we do some more questions based on chapter 2. Till then, goodbye.